Look at this. I was so eager to make this video for you guys. I just woke up, and you can tell because I make my bed every single morning. But this morning, I literally just woke up. I grabbed my phone. Look at this. Watch is not even on. Rolex. It's my baby. Rental car keys here. I want you guys to check this out. I felt so cluttered in Miami. So cluttered. That, and I was with my best friend Grayson. I got a flight on a whim. Sounded like there's a dog in this house. I got a flight on a whim to Destin, Florida. Look at this place, bro. Huge kitchen, huge living room, right? And it's just for me and him. It's just for two people. My family's down the road in a house as well, but I wanted a spot to be able to work. And I used to come here on vacation on spring break. Literally me and Grayson used to come here on spring break, broke as a joke in high school. You know, maybe we would save up all of our money and pull together and we'd get some small place. Or I remember one year, our other friend's parents, they took us one year to this house that was pretty nice. It was kind of like this, and it was one of the coolest experiences, but I remember not even having money for food that trip. And the ability to now come here and it's only a few years later and I can just on a whim drop thousands of dollars on a house like this to where I can come and peacefully just work, go eat, go to the beach, enjoy God's beautiful creation. It's crazy. And the fact that online coaching has done this, and while I'm here, I can also still run my business from my phone while enjoying the fruits of my labor and being able to think back about times where I just wished I had an income source online. Now, given I just wanted to make money without putting in any effort back then, and that's why I didn't have any money, right? But now I just love being able to work as hard as I can and then also experience the benefit of the fruits of my labor. But what I just did there was I took a story from my past and I applied it into my current life. And then I used it for something that a lot of you guys want to experience. You want to have the financial freedom to wherever you want, drop thousands of dollars on a house. Maybe traveling's not your thing. Maybe you want the $75,000 watch that I just showed you. Maybe you want the supercar. Maybe you want to be able to take your girlfriend on vacations multiple times a year. Maybe you want to go to Puerto Rico and stay at the Ritz in Dorado. Maybe you want to go to south of France. Maybe you want to go to F1 in Monaco. Maybe you want to get a huge ranch house in the country away from everyone in the middle of nowhere and raise your family so that they can't be corrupted by the government into wondering what gender they are, thinking about sex at the age of 6, right? That's definitely something that I'm gonna be building in the future. I want to have a ranch in the middle of nowhere. But whatever your desire is, right? I just took the fact that in my past I wasn't able to do something, and because of online coaching, I'm now able to do it. And I told an in-depth story that hopefully triggered some memories for you guys. And I call that the coach's frame. And that's being able to take specific times and being able to take specific experiences out of your life and apply it to your audience. And it's one of the most important things when you have a coaching business. It doesn't matter what you're selling, real estate, fitness coaching. It doesn't matter if you're selling business coaching. It is the single most important thing that you could have, the skill that you could have when you're doing this and you want to make money online. And so what I've done is something that most people will not do. Right? If you have access to this video, I either send it to you personally or you're seeing it a couple of days after it launched, because this video is only for a specific group of people who are looking for this. And no one else makes videos about this. If they're explaining this secret about the coach's frame, they'd send you some Google Doc, they send you some PDF that leaves you more confused than before, because if they gave you something like this, they know that it wouldn't be enough value for you to actually buy, because their actual program isn't what's good about them. They're just good at marketing. But then once you get in the system, it sucks. I'm the complete opposite. I like to be as transparent as I can with my marketing, give everything away for free, and show everyone that I'm the best. I have the best systems. I have the best client results. And that if you consume enough of my value, I'm going to make you enough money and give you enough information for free that eventually you're going to join my program by default. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a breakdown of one of my elite students. He's got about 30,000 followers, small YouTube, but he's still struggling with this problem of having a coach's frame, right? He's got a crazy transformation. He used to be he used to have a corporate job. He was overweight. Now he's super shredded, right? But he's really struggling to understand how to actually speak to the right pain points of his audience, even though he has 30K. He's made some money, but he hasn't been in my program that long. And so we just did a one-on-one call, and I want to give you access to the entire thing so that you can study it, review it, apply it to your offer. I'm talking about sit down at your desk, sit down at your kitchen table, hoodie on, pen, notepad, computer, headphones, and go through it. I want you to replay. I want you to go back to sections and really digest what does this mean and how can I apply this to my offer, because I want it to make you a ton of money, but it's in depth. Like, this is sauce. This is real-time business psychology and systems to understand the messaging that you need and your content. We're going to jump into my computer right now and you're going to see it, but you have to actually be willing to apply this video. And if you do, it's going to make you a ton of money. And remember, if you want a dashboard the same way Eran does, if you want to have one-on-one calls with me like this and be able to move through the system to scale your business, you can either click the first link in the description or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram and we can talk about it. But I'm the only person who's going to post value like this. Why? Because I actually want to provide as much value as I possibly can, because I know that if I make you money for free and if I give out all of the information, if I'm giving you this for free, imagine what it's actually like inside of my paid one-on-one mentorship. So I'm going to jump into the video right now. Sit back, focus, not sit back and relax, sit back, focus, because it's really long, but this is the care that I give to every single one of my students. So let's jump in right now.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right, got it. How are you, bro?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, bro. Good. I watched almost the entire 59 minutes of the video you posted the other day where you're watching. So I've got a lot of things that we can go over. Because I think the video is good. I think there's just from like the time I spent with you in person at the event as well, like I think that there's a couple of things, because the YouTube videos, like we want them to be as close to like how you actually are in person as we can. And I don't think that it was different. We'll go over it in a second, but there's some things that I wanted to go over. First things first, though, what are the three, what are the three biggest pain points with your content that you feel right now? I'm going to write those down so I can make sure that we stay focused within those. And then I want to go through some of your DMs, and then we can talk about anything else, and then the YouTube and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Okay, so again, I'm going to give my opinion, but I don't think my opinion.
Well, that's what I want. I want to hear what your opinion is, and then I'm going to weigh it against, okay, well, here's actually what the data. It just helps both of us come to an understanding, and then you can kind of see, okay, here's the way that you're looking at it, and here's the way that I look at it.
Okay, got it. So I think the biggest problem I have is I'm not, I guess, descriptive enough in the messaging. I have some content that's done well, quote unquote, air quotes well, hitting like 50K, 60K, but the messaging is fairly broad. It doesn't necessarily speak to my target ICP. It speaks more to everyone. And then I have content which I try to be a little bit more specific, but I'm noticing I don't necessarily get that same reach. So I feel like one of the issues might be my messaging and my content. That's number one. The second is I think I have a problem transferring audience from IG to YouTube. I'm not really getting the lift from the IG onto the YouTube. But in fairness, the stories themselves aren't necessarily getting like tons and tons of like views. I know it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it matters. It's just you're not gonna, like, even with me, like I'll get, like, if I haven't posted a story in 24 hours, I have 50K followers, for example, I'll get like 5K maybe. But if I posted 20 stories during the day, my latest story will have like 400 views, and then my 24-hour story will have like 2,000 max. How many views do you get after like 24 hours?
So after 24 hours, maybe like 300, 250.
300. Wow, that's interesting.
That's if I'm posting, like, I guess, how do I explain it?
So if you let's say you didn't post a story for like an entire day, and then you posted a story, you just let that one story stay up for
it
let that one story.
if it's like a quote unquote hype story, like for example, me at the gym, like flexing, for example,
Yeah.
I can get like 1,000. That'll get like 1,000. Or if
Okay.
it's like
So
just like a regular video of me cooking, that might
yeah,
get like 800 views.
got it.
Yeah.
So it's very weird because Instagram actually goes like they know what stories you're posting, and they'll, based on what it is and what your audience has responded to in the past, they'll push it out more. And it's just naturally the more stories that you post. The CEO of Instagram, he said that they're actually working on this, but he was like, naturally, the more stories that you post, the more your engagement goes down, obviously. But the thing is, it's like, let's say you post talking head stories, most people don't really engage with them. The more that happens, the more that you post talking head stories, they're not going to put it out in front of people with it, because that means people aren't really engaging with it, right? So we want to try and make sure that we're like, it's not a reach thing, because if you show, okay, well, I can get 1,000 views when this happens, but then when I post this, I don't get 1,000 views, I only get 300. We need to really try and make sure that we're posting things that people want to actually retain and watch through, because if I post 4 or 5 talking stories, people like watch them all, and so I'm able to actually retain a lot of good stuff. So messaging first, and then sending traffic from IG to YouTube. You think that would be second?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
then
this kind of goes back into the messaging part, but my biggest weak point right now is that I don't have any inbound. I'll have like very rarely inbound. So again, it ties back. I think messaging is a bigger issue.
Yeah, I think that would tie back to same exact thing with the story. So obviously we're not hitting, and one of the biggest reasons I think that I want to go into is because of like the conviction when you speak, but that will be the same problem. So if we can figure out that will work itself out. So it's like low story engagement on the talking heads, which that's a given that there would be low inbound, because your talking head stories is the biggest thing that are going to bring you inbound DMs. So we need to figure out why that is low inbound DMs. So do you have any DM conversations that we can go over?
I do. Yeah, okay. I do. I have some. How do you want me to?
We'll do that. We'll do that next. I kind of want to just go off. No inbounds off what it is. Are you booking any calls from your YouTube, like Calendly, at all?
I booked 0.
0. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's a problem with my Calendly. Maybe my qualification questions are maybe too stringent, or maybe the CTAs aren't strong enough in the YouTube to actually get people to take action. I'm not sure which one is which.
YouTube Calendly, no booking. All right, well, let's go into, so one of the biggest things, like, and a lot of times you'll find problems show up in like multiple different areas, but when it comes to your messaging and like the descriptiveness, like, I thought this video was very informative, but the thing is, I felt myself losing interest. And I think that it's not because of what you were talking about. It's the way that you were tying it together. It was almost as if I could read you trying to piece together, like, how can I make this like VSL structure, kind of, instead of just almost like flowing. It was literally like I could kind of feel that you were thinking in your head, like, oh, here's what I'm going to talk about, and then here's why you should listen to me, and then here's what I've done, and then here's a couple of clients that have gotten this result using this method, and then here's what we're going to go into. And we were like 6 minutes into the video before there was really anything that was like actually exciting or valuable. And here, like, so here's something that my friend Jason, you met him at the event.
Yeah,
right?
Jason Kellenby, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't make that much money, but he has a ton of followers. He just ran a webinar. And so it kind of like this. And this was the exact same problem that he had. He was like, yo, can you give me feedback? How was the webinar? Da, da, da. It was good, but the things that anyone can say is what he spent most of his time focusing on. And then the things that were actually valuable to making people listen, he just kind of skipped over. So for example, he spent all the time in the world in his webinar talking about, like, it's going to be the best webinar you've ever seen. It's going to help you make so much money. You're going to be able to do this, 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 and this. He's like, there's going to be this information and this information and this information, and you need to watch till the end. And then he like went into like his story, and he was like, I was a kickboxer, I was world champion, I went to jail, and then this, he just skipped over that. But the whole entire point is that the story is what makes people be like, oh, I need to buy from this guy, not him saying, oh, you need to listen to this. This is going to be the best. I'm going to teach you the secret. Because anyone can say that, but no one can have the story. And I think with this, and that's where a lot of conviction, you can easily convey like fake conviction when you're talking about an outcome, but it's hard to fake conviction when you're talking about past experiences and how you actually feel. And I think that that's what you were doing here, because it's not like it was theoretically a bad video. If I were you, I probably would have filmed it somewhere else. It's kind of distracting having like the clothes in your closet on like the right side and stuff. I would maybe have had a bit more of an open space so people can just focus on you and the whiteboard. Sure. But I don't think that that's like what destroyed the engagement. But I think it's definitely a video that's worth more than 230 views. But if we go through and we like watch in the beginning,
I've really realized after working with so many different men is that most of the time you're not actually lazy. You're really just overloaded. There's a whole lot of things. And
it's like, okay, it's 30 seconds in and you're already talking about working with people, doing this. You can blend that in later in, because if someone's 30 minutes in, they're so locked into the video. Then you can start, really talking about the people that you work with and trying to get people to go and work through. But what we're trying to do in the beginning is get people emotionally invested enough to stay in. We're not trying to have people book calls in the first 30 seconds. So you talking about the people that like you've worked with and like over portraying your I feel like you over portrayed your qualifications in a way that it doesn't matter. Like in the first 30 seconds of the video, no one really cares how many people you worked with, right? People want to know. You should have spent your time listing out, like going in depth about like 5 different scenarios of, how shitty you felt when you were working at 9 to 5 and you were overweight. And like if you would have spent 10 minutes talking about that, and like I'll give you an example.
That you're trying to do in the workplace. And then by the time you get home and you have to try to focus on your fitness, it's a little bit more challenging. So I built a system to help you simplify the whole thing. In terms of why you should listen to me, I've lost over 25 pounds, anywhere between 25 to 30 pounds myself, while working 10-hour days doing corporate banking, and did all this without having to track my macros or doing.
You see how structured it is right here, which is like, it's okay, but this is not the type of like, it's not what makes you valuable, and it's not really the system that we're running. If let's say a video like this would do good, the person who's gonna like maybe respond to this video, maybe if you were running ads to this video, it'd be okay, but the chance of you having traffic that's not super engaged with you watching a 59-minute video where you're not just like beaming with passion, it's very difficult. I would have rather this first 5 minutes been you going into the story, because that's what qualifies you. Like I can remember, what it used to feel like. I would wake up at 6 a.m. 30 minutes before I was doing my shift at corporate banking. I would feel this just nauseating feeling of just doing the same thing every single day. Didn't like the way that I looked, let alone did I like the clothes that I was forced to wear. Like talking about the actual things, because I know if I were to go into your head, I could extract memories where like I haven't been a corporate banker and I've never been fat, right? Yeah. So I don't know what it feels like, but I've had other things that I've spoken about where like you should be able to go back and like actually tell me like, what did that young man feel like in his head? Like what did it feel like when the alarm would go off? Were you like, holy shit, there's no way I'm having to go back here? Like those are the moments that you should be spending time talking about, because that's what makes the guy who's working hard. He doesn't even have to be in corporate banking. Maybe he's an investment banker. Maybe he works in finance. Maybe he works in, fucking insurance. But he's like, fuck, I felt the exact same way this morning. You don't give a damn how many guys you've worked with. He's like, damn, Aaron's been in my shoes to the point where he literally just like read me the thoughts that I felt this morning. That's what qualifies you, and that's what makes people hyper fixate and be like, holy shit, like he understands, right? And so is that making sense?
Yeah, that's making sense. Yeah.
So like that's what I would rather you have spent because if someone's 53 seconds in and he's just like, oh, he gets me, then they're watching the rest of the video.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna be like, oh my God, he lost 20 pounds and he's coached a bunch of people and he's going to tell me what he's learned. They don't care, especially for like, it's like for guys. I'll give you an example. This is just kind of like on the top of my mind, right?
Yeah.
I've been fighting recently. So it's like, you can sit here and like, before a fight, you can, someone can talk all the trash, do all this, da 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 da. But it doesn't really matter until that first punch is thrown and someone's like, oh shit, he's actually good, right? The talking doesn't mean anything. It's the action. Now, if you talk and then you have the action to back it up, okay, now you've had 5 fights, you've knocked every single opponent out. Now the talking's like, damn, like he's being for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, the action speaks so much louder than the words, and you just sitting here spinning like, because we can even go here to the point where you're like 3 minutes in.
But mindset. And honestly, this is one of the things that I wish I knew and understood fully when I was working a 6-figure job at RBC doing corporate banking. I hated my life, by the way. And
see how you just were like, hated my life, by the way, and you skipped over that.
Yeah.
But now you're about to go in depth.
like my whole life was falling apart. And I was trying to keep up with my fitness because obviously fitness was the one thing I used to try and anchor everything else in my life. But it felt like everything was falling apart, or I mean, it was. And I wish I understood how important having the right mindset was.
So you skipped over the shit that's unique to you and that's actually valuable. And then you said something that literally they've heard a million times. I wish I knew how important having the right mindset was.
Sure.
That only matters on the backside of you being like I literally hated my life. I literally remember I can feel the sound of my alarm clock in my head. It's almost like writing a book, right? You've read a book with descriptive language that's so good it paints a word picture in your mind, and then you've read like an article where you're like, oh my God, this is so boring. I just like don't want to read anymore, right? You could write an article and a very, very descriptive writing page about the exact same thing, and one of them is just so insanely fun to read, and then one of them is just like so boring to read, and they both have the same information. And one of them gets read and one of them doesn't. That's what you're trying to do here. The more you can describe the feelings, the more you can talk about your story as the scapegoat. Less of like, hey, I'm teaching you, and more of like, hey, I'm talking through what I did. I'm talking through what I did. So let's watch this for a couple more minutes. I'm gonna give you some little tips and some pieces.
That's why this is going to be the first part, and it's the most important part, and I think it's also one of the parts which is the most overlooked by a lot of people who are looking to get in shape. I've seen so many cases of people who get in amazing shape.
And that's also why you have to keep cutting every few minutes, because if you're what are you going to read about your story? You don't have to. It's up here already. So you can just go. But when it comes to the info, you're like, okay, how can I say this in a way that makes sense to them? Right? And that's like the best. If you go watch my aggression talks, none of them were scripted. None of them were cut. I'm not saying you can't cut the video here and there. Sometimes that's okay. But when you get in that flow state where you're not even thinking about the words that you're saying and it's just coming out and it's full passion, that's what convicts people and makes them feel like almost addicted to your content. There's some content creators and you watch them and you're just like, bro, every time I speak, I just want to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. That's like your unique personality flowing through the screen in a form of energy, and the viewers can feel it. But you're never crossing that threshold because you're manicuring what you're saying, but it's focusing on the information instead of the relatability of like, because you don't even have to say anything about, who you are or what you've done. When you're speaking about your story and you're using that to teach people about, the changes that you've made, because it's already present, like it happens in their head.
But then 6 months later, they're back to normal. It's because they can't sustain the body that they have.
And you're already talking. So let's say someone's new to watching this. What are the things that they know about you so far with 4 minutes into this video?
They briefly know that I did corporate banking and that I didn't enjoy the job, and they know we're going to be getting into an hour-long video about fitness.
And so they're doing this. They know basically 3 or 4 things. They like 3 or 4 things about you, but you're basically just like another human being behind the screen.
pretty much by a lot of people who are looking to get in shape. I've seen so many cases of people who get in amazing shape, but then 6 months later, they're back to normal.
And you're already talking about, I've seen so many cases of people who they're looking to get in shape for 6 months. It's like, this was another opportunity to, like, I used to bang my head against the wall every single day, get home from the job that I hated, had literally been insecure about the way that I looked all day, and I would get home and there would be even more stress than I had at work because I knew I needed to go work out, but I was too embarrassed to go to the gym. I didn't want to take a year before I started feeling good. I felt like I was too far gone. And what would I do? I would literally look at myself in the mirror, feel the fact that I needed to start eating right. It would stress me out so hard that I would go to the kitchen and I would binge eat and I would make myself feel more like shit. I would literally be in this cycle of knowing that I needed to make progress, being too scared of the progress, and then I would go do the thing that made me farther away from my goals just because it would make me feel good. And I did this over and over and over again, literally for 6 months straight. You think that is going to make people relate to you? Or you being like, I talk to people all the time and they're, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't mean to, you know, this is just hot. So I don't mean to, like, I'm not making fun of you or anything. I'm just trying to put it into perspective for you so you can understand.
No, point taken. Got it.
Yeah. But that's what you have to do because what's going on, and I can literally see it behind your eyes because I've seen it so much. You're not like, it's almost like imagine you're on a date with a girl that you really, really like, right? You've been on, I'm gonna give you another example. You've been on a date with a girl before that, like, you know, it's like she's cool and everything, but like it's not like your dream girl, and it's just like so easy, like you don't even like you don't have to think about what you say, or just like and it's everything you do is just perfect.
Yeah.
And then you've been out with the girl where you're like, oh shit, like, oh man, like open the door, like, oh, I'm about to step on her heel. You know, you're thinking about every little move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. And it's like what always the best thing to do is to release the outcome. Because usually why that happens is the dude's out on the date with the dream girl and all he's thinking about is not fucking it up. And because of that, he's fucking it up. Instead of just being himself. Because when you're with the girl, it's like, you know, she's like a 7. You don't care. You're like, if I lose or whatever. And so therefore you actually operate the way that you did. And you're thinking in your head, you're like, damn, if I acted with the 10 the way that I acted with the 7, it would be so easy. But it's because you're constantly worried about, so right here in your eyes, you're like, I have this hour-long video, it has to be perfect. Like, I want to make sure I say everything that's going to get me the clients. And so, but because of it, you're skipping over the things that are valuable and you're just going in depth in the things that like don't really actually do anything for you. And this is the problem. And I guarantee the same thing will show up in your stories. The same thing will show up in a micro way in your Instagram reels. But I want you to also keep this in mind for the point that I'm going to make in a little bit about your Instagram viewers going to YouTube. Instagram stories is like a cousin of YouTube, right? So it's almost like the trailer of a movie. So if people aren't really watching and engaging with your Instagram stories, because I guarantee you're doing the same thing as you're doing here in your Instagram stories, what would make them be like, damn, this is boring, I want more of this? You know what I'm saying? Like they're not gonna go and then be like, man, I didn't even watch through 3 1-minute long stories. Let me go watch 60 minutes. It's not gonna happen. So you really need to find those little things because that's what people want to see. That's what people want to see. And I know, and what I'm telling you right now, I don't want it to discourage you. I don't want you to be like, oh, damn, I've just wasted the last 3 months. Every single solitary rep, all work is profit. Remember that. Every single rep that you do builds you further. Because if you wouldn't have posted this video, I could teach you this lesson, but it wouldn't get across your mind as well because I'm teaching you literally from something that you did. So every single solitary rep is good and it's building you towards where we want to go. But I really want you to I want you to watch this in third person. I'm going to watch a couple more minutes and then I'm going to skip through a few different parts.
It's because they can't sustain the body that they have because they don't have the mindset to support the body that they've built.
So any human being can say that on the camera. But what no human being can do is do what I just did where, bro, I've never even lived that life. And what did I do? I literally started creating an identity in my head and I was like, how does he feel when he gets home from work? Like, I was just saying random stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was flowing because I was telling a story. Even more so when you're speaking about yourself and how you used to feel. I was probably way off on what used to happen, you know, but I'm like, whatever you used to feel, I genuinely want you to go in there and think. And the reason it's difficult, the reason it's a bit easier for me to do talking about a fake person is because to me, I'm just thinking about what are the scenarios of, you know, someone who works corporate banking, who's overweight, who hates their job. What would they maybe do? I don't actually know. But to you, our brain wants to trick us and be like, oh, these are kind of just like my personal thoughts. Like, why would anyone find this interesting? But that's the most interesting thing, because it's almost like when you have like a best friend and you guys like were thinking the exact same thing, or like an event happened and and you guys just know, because the people that are like you usually have kind of the same thought process and experiences. So what this does is this massively filters and brings you in like hordes your ICP, because they had the exact same thoughts as you. And so they're like, oh damn. And nothing builds more relationship than that. Nothing does. They're like, bro, he literally, in this scenario, he came to this conclusion. And then the one difference is the fact that now you're jacked, now you're ripped, now you're speaking from already having gone through it, and they're not. And you don't even have to tell them that. They can see it. So you don't have to try and teach and be like, this is what I've learned from gaining 20 pounds of muscle and I've coached 5 different guys. You gain all the authority in the world the second you speak a thought that's exactly a thought that they've had. And the beautiful part about this is you don't even have to think in your head, what thought would my client have? You just have to think, what is a thought that I had in a time where I didn't like the way that I looked and I wanted to change? And then the second thing that you do is you're like, what was the day that it actually changed? And how has that led me to where I am now? And the more times you can do that throughout the video, the more guys are just going to be like, holy shit, I've never felt like someone was speaking, because you'll genuinely start speaking from the heart. And I guarantee you, bro, you'll be able to speak for 20 minutes straight because you just get on a roll. You don't have to think about what you're saying, right?
So that's why it's so important that before you actually build the body, you have to build the mind. Because if you don't build the mind well enough, you will never be able to sustain the actual body. So let's get into mindset. All right, so getting into mindset, first things first, your body is a direct scorecard
So this would have been a good transition of like, okay, you just had 4 minutes of learning about how you realized the mindset was so heavy in your life, how you changed your mindset to lose weight, how you all the different scenarios you were. One of the days you were coming home from work, one of the days, you know, the chick that you wanted at work had, made fun of you, or, there was like, I don't know what happened, right? I don't want to act like I know what happened in your life, right? But just, you talk about all these different scenarios, how it affected you, how it made you feel, and like the pain that you had gone through, because that's you qualifying who you are. You spend 5 minutes being like, I used to come home, I would feel like this is what would happen in my mind, but instead of going to the gym, I would watch TV. Instead of going and going on a run, I would just go out because I thought that was an instant fix. And then I would get to, where my boys were, and we would drink, and then I would just look around and I'd be like, why am I even here? I'm making myself worse. I'm getting fatter. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to have to wake up 30 minutes before my shift. You just start to build this mental picture of what you used to go through and how you used to feel. And you're like, and that's what started, that was the mindset process where I started realizing it all started up here, because I was in this horrible loop of despair where I didn't even have any confidence that I could change. And then I started to realize, like, if I don't even believe it's possible for me to change, how do I expect myself to have the motivation to eat healthy when I get home instead of eating a bad meal? My subconscious mind doesn't even think that it's possible. So why would it even make the decision? And that's when I started understanding how present your mindset is in your life. And then that's when I really started to lose crazy amounts of weight. So what I'm going to do, that shift right there, that was the first thing that really changed my physique. And I'm going to walk you through how that mindset, especially if you're working in a corporate job, you're overweight, you're going through that cycle like I was just telling you through. I'm going to walk you through how to make this first change in your mindset and how you can apply it to your body. 4 minutes of that, then this transition, bro, that shit is hot. Hot, bro. People are watching, they're engaged, they're ready to learn. But all you did was just kind of spitball about like, I've had 5 clients and I've lost this weight, and I'm telling you guys, mindset is the most important thing. You need to do this. And you're like, let's go into mindset. But there's nothing stuck. You like send out all these shots, but like nothing stuck.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're like, damn, another fucking 50 minutes of this? Like, what are you talking about? But if you do it the way that I just said, they're like, oh my God, like this is what I've been looking for. I gotta get in depth. I gotta watch this. Does that make sense, or would you like me to go and explain a little bit deeper? Because I really want to make sure that you do have a good grasp of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. The only question I have to follow up is I have some videos in the queue right now where I'm looking to post like this week, next week, and they're going to be those Miro board videos where I kind of like go in detail. Would it be a cool thing to maybe do like a raw talk where I kind of go in detail about the story, and then I say, and here's a fix, and then the fix would be me showing the video on a Miro board of actually explaining XYZ topic?
Yeah, I think that could be super smart. You could also do it in a way where, you just do like a little 5-minute intro where you're talking about, your story, what's happened, all XYZ, and be like, now guys, now I just kind of showed you all these, but now I want to break it down. And I promise you, this is not going to be entertaining, but I'm literally walking you through the step-by-step functionality, because it might be a little confusing if it goes like raw talk, then Miro, then raw. But I would say test both of the ways. Try one video where it's like cut up. It's like you talking about the story and then you show the solution. And then you talk about I think that would actually be really cool too. If like, guys, I've created something super special. What I'm going to do and you want to have your unique little method. Everyone on YouTube's on here and they're either giving you some boring Miro board that you don't even know how it's applicable to your life, and they're walking you through all the things that you need to do to lose weight, and meanwhile you're just wondering how you can actually stay consistent. You're not even to the point where you're worried about losing 50 pounds. You just want to lose your first 10 and realize that you actually can track your macros over and over again. You're worried about how you're going to fit that in with your job, XYZ. Or you've got a bunch of guys just emotionally spewing and they're saying a whole lot of stuff that sounds interesting, but it doesn't really teach you anything. What I want to do today is I want to break all of the paradigms on YouTube, and I want to combine both of those so you can actually listen, understand my story of like what it was like, or what it truly takes to lose a ton of weight, even when you're working a crazy demanding job, working 60 hours a week and feeling like it's hopeless to make money unless you want to go broke. And I'm also going to give you specific breakdowns of how to do it so that you can understand my story, apply it to your own, and then you're able to have a step-by-step guide by the time you finish this video of all the things that you need to do. So lock in. Take notes, get out your pen, but you need to speak with conviction. And I think only talking about your story will really bring that conviction out of you, because here it's like, you've got energy and stuff like that, but it's not like you're just like pouring out with passion. And that's really what makes people buy. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
I think change your personality, but I think you'll care a little bit more about the delivery when you're speaking about the pain that you used to go through.
Got it. Quick question. I was wondering if you can click on my profile.
The YouTube profile?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if you scroll down,
I would unlist this probably.
those ones? I'll unlist them. Got it.
Well, this just because it's 2 minutes long, unless you want to like.
I've been in the gym.
Because there's no context, right? If you want to have this for 2 minutes, you could go. Yo, what's up, guys? It's Aaron back again. Like, I want to walk you guys through one of my client, Mac, his journey of going, this. Here's some pictures of him, da-da-da. It's like a little 2-minute video, but I just want you guys to see what's actually possible when you do this, da-da-da. And then, let me see how.
Okay.
Yeah, I just would have done that and then been like, here's how Mac, a full-time, mortgage broker, lost 22 pounds, even while working 60 hours a week without tracking his macros as the title. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a little bit of effort that actually makes people be like, oh, this is something I want to consume, instead of literally like, this is you like, just like get the person the gift without even wrapping it. It's like, does the wrapping actually add much value? No, but it's like, it's just like, oh, they care. They actually took the time to do this. And in this case, the packaging and the wrapping actually does add a bunch of value because the person doesn't know who you are. And so your presentation of things is what's super valuable.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. If you can
Yeah. What was the question that you were gonna ask?
I took one of the advice that you gave one of the guys on the group calls. If you go back to the page again, sorry. You told one of the guys on one of the group calls that they should do a video on their story. So if you scroll down, down a little bit more. Yeah, there's a 41-minute video. This is probably, like, in my opinion, I think probably one of my best stories. And again, it's tying in directly to what you said. Like, it's just me talking about my story straight for like 40 minutes, straight flow, no cuts, like just straight raw. And would you?
I'm gonna watch it right now. I'll give you some. First things first, though, it's like you also got to keep in mind, like, I know I said in a lot of things, I'm like, oh, just post it to post it. But the thing is, like, usually if it's like your first video, it's like, okay, just post it to post it. But you still want to not, like, just my story. If you go and you look at my first like my story video or whatever, where I kind of talked about who I was like, who is John Mark, 19-year-old fitness coach? That's because I didn't know any better. Now that's not what I would have titled it. But like, if I were you, knowing what you know, it seems a bit foolish to just title it like my story because no one's going to click on it. So it'd be like, how, random example, how giving my life to, how spending 30 minutes a day with God has helped me, lose 30 pounds, get in the best shape of my life, and find my purpose. Something like that is just a little. Now you're actually at least giving it a chance for, if you feel like the video is good at all and you want people to watch it, it's like, sure, okay, in the future when you're balling, people are going to go back to this and they're going to watch it and it's going to be good. But you still want to, like, it's like if you're taking, if you're sitting here and you're practicing basketball. Like, every time you take a shot, it's like you still want to take them with intention, even if they're just practice shots. Just kind of just throwing the ball and not caring. Like, eventually that kind of becomes habit. It starts to show up in other areas. So everything that you do, bro, because it always comes back to you in your mind. The energy that you put out into the universe comes back. And I know I'm not trying to make something like more deep than it is, but it's just like a business owner lesson. Like, and you look at this and you're like, oh, my story, it's kind of like a careless era. It's like, oh, you didn't really care about people seeing it that much. You're just kind of trying to, like, do it. Well, that's kind of the results that you get in,
Understood.
Yeah.
Point taken.
My name is Iram Mazelli Ogotabo.
Okay. No need to watch this one, honestly. Like, I'd rather, like, get feedback from you in, like, other areas. This is more.
Yeah, I want to skip through a couple minutes and see kind of what you're doing.
I got my journal here. I wrote a couple notes about, like, the different topics I want to cover, and so I want to talk about a few things. So I want to talk about, obviously, like, my life, how I was in university, and then how that led to my success in the corporate world, and then from there, what was, like, the big defining moments in my life that kind of started me on this journey, and then eventually into, like, why.
Also, I wouldn't give this tip to everybody, but I think to you I would. So don't treat these like they're like a TED talk, or don't treat them like they're like a school presentation, because, like, school presentations, like, hey guys, my name's Iran. I'm, I did my project was on, XYZ, and today I want to walk you through these things. I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about this. You got to treat your audience like they're like your group of best friends that are lacking a little bit of context, right? So it's like, if you're talking to your homie and you're, like, giving him, like, a pep talk, you're not gonna be like, hey bro, let's sit down and talk. I want to cover this. I want to cover that. I don't mean to make you laugh, but I just like we're gonna cover this. We're gonna cover this. We might go into a little bit of this. You're just gonna kind of get into the conversation. That's kind of how you want to do it, because you also got to keep in mind of, like, our demographic of males. Like, let's say when you were overweight, you came to this video. you're not gonna, and I over exaggerate the examples when I say them, to like the reason you're laughing is just so they like stick in your head. But you're not gonna watch the video and just be like, oh my god, he's gonna go over this, this, and this. Like, I'm stoked. Like, you're like, okay, bro, get to the point. Like, I didn't, I clicked on this to learn. Like, I want to learn something. There's got to be
Yeah.
something there for me, right? So you can just lose retention like that. It's okay to talk about like what you're gonna cover in the video, but it's always better to always preach based on, like going through something. Like, the biggest thing is, I've lost a ton of weight over the past few months. I've done this. I feel amazing. I feel like I have the most momentum in my entire life. Like, I wake up, I'm just absolutely stoked, and there's so much more for me to do. But in this video, I want to make sure that I'm kind of walking you guys through my story of, what it was like working a corporate job, so you can, and like, tell them the benefit of it, instead of almost just kind of making it like a presentation, because you really want to, it'll also help you get in that flow state of your speaking quicker. So, I feel like,
I started like this business,
let's go to the middle and see.
and then I thought to myself, I was like, damn, my pops is still working. Then I was like,
This is good.
that's,
And so,
like, he has the house, he has the car, he's providing for the family. If I were to
it's a bit hard to listen to.
Yeah, with the wind. Yeah.
Yeah, with the wind. So I would have, I don't know how windy it is up there. I would have argued that without the mic, it would have literally just been better to have a little bit of wind and then hear your voice and it just be solid, instead of the volume going up and down.
Yeah.
This is with him right now with my current job. Even if I
Especially because you're kind of
100%
soft spoken in this video, or it just makes it sound like you're
100%
win.
and let's just say the government didn't tax me, and I saved 100% of my money.
But I like how in
Still
depth
wouldn't be
you're
able
going
to
in this
afford
example.
the mortgage, the car payments, the food that I'm eating, the rent, all that stuff. And so I was like, wait, I'm doing something wrong. How am I the one playing video games when I'm in that position? But my pops, the person who already has everything, he's working. Like, something's not right here. And that's when it clicked that, like, okay, you know what, like, I'm doing something wrong. And so after that night, I never logged back onto the game until today. And that was like a really defining moment in my life, because that moment really changed everything. I told myself, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I need to do something. And I started looking a little bit more into it. I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to be successful and have the life I want to live while working a regular 9 to 5 job. Like, it's just not gonna happen, because at the time I would be
Yeah, this is good. I like how you're going into like this. I could actually sit and it's interesting. Now, again, I would say it's like 20 minutes into the video. It's not even like about a personality thing. It's like there's some things that you when you speak about, you just like you light up. Every single solitary person has it. It doesn't matter how dull of a person are. There's some things where they get like like kind of like fascinated with, and their energy goes up. You want the viewer to be able to feel that energy transfer. Like most people's videos, if I know it's a good video, I can watch the first minute and then I'll skip halfway through the video and I'll skip in. And if their energy's the same, the video the video's probably not hasn't done that good. So like, for example, like let's like look this up. So talk weight loss journey, something like this, right? So maybe, yeah, I did not want to fucking have that. My story, weight loss journey, something like this. See if we can find some like raw talk with like a lot of views. It's not what I'm looking for. Okay, let's see if this.
Hello, my name is Oliver Nixon. I was born in August.
I don't know why this video has 11K views. I'm just interested in seeing.
So no fap.
Yeah, this sucks.
I've been excited to make this video. It's not going to be based on my body. I'd be trying to be busy. I'd be trying to do my work for university, and I was just thinking just imagine this. It's just this cycle of just bullshit. Just I lived like that for a long time. Experiences, and this was honestly happening every 5 to 10 seconds. Genuinely, every 5 to 10 seconds.
You see how he's 56 minutes in, and like he's still, this is what you were doing, but he's still so deep in talking about like exactly how he was feeling in the moment. And here he's a bit like choppy.
Video, I'm gonna be explaining each and every step, each and every part.
And then here the energy hasn't increased
It was
that
more
much,
like
but he's
I was
flowing
thinking.
so deep in the thought, and you can see that he's just thinking about the actual story. It feels like you're there with him instead of thinking about like, how can I structure this in a way where like you're gonna buy from me?
My own projects.
Yeah.
And this is when
Genuinely seems like you're just like having a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And so I think that that last video that you did was good, but you know, the wind, the title isn't very compelling or anything like that.
For sure.
But then also things like this, it's like it's gonna be difficult to I'd really like you to try this is a better title,
If you're a busy guy who's working,
but it's I think this would have been really, really good if you did a 5-minute, like, let's say in my mind what I would have wanted to see is like I open this video and I see you're like in the gym, like posing room or the bathroom, like you're showing your physique, and you're like guys, just finished my workout for today, looking insanely insanely pumped. I just got off 10-hour shift and everything. I still ate 250 grams of protein today, 250 grams while at work. It's the end of the day, right? I have no meal prep. I don't cook anything. These are all the excuses that you like to make 24/7. You'll be buzzing high off the gym. You'll have that energy, And I want to, and then you talk about what you're going to do in this video, and then you add the Miro board. That's just going to increase the retention so much more. It's usually not good to have a video that just goes straight into the Miro board. Kind of like this. Like this video didn't do that good. I was just trying to get it out. The thumbnail was bad, but
Boys, it's been a couple weeks too
I
long.
watched this video, and then you said
Yeah,
we're gonna jump into the screen, and then we hopped into the Miro. Yeah.
that much simpler, right? Not a crazy change, but I'm telling you, all these things really, really, really start to add up. And so the only thing that I feel like, to answer the first question, the only thing that I feel like that is missing with the messaging is the fact that, what you did better in your My Story video, but is the fact that you're spending most of the time on the messaging talking about the information instead of talking about what led you to understanding the information. Because again, what is it? Everyone has access to the same information that you did.
True.
But what are they buying? They're buying the journey that led you there, and so you can teach them through a similar one. And the more similarities they see in your thinking, the more they're like, oh my gosh, well, I need this guy who thinks like me because he probably acts like me. And if he figured his way through, I would like him to help me get through as well.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so that's the biggest thing with the messaging. I'll show you kind of how that applies to like some of the reels and stuff. Let's watch.
I think it cut out for the AirPods.
Yeah, it's just because
Okay, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear.
it was just because the story was like really, really loud. The dude running in the treadmill in the back.
I'm not able to see. I'm still looking at the YouTube, by the way.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear. This story is it's kind of hard to hear if people are listening with AirPods. I can't really hear.
Right, episode, creating a plan that actually works for you and your schedule. And one of the things that we talked about that I also wanted to hop in.
So like just little things like this, for example, is like most people, not to like overly inconvenience you, but it's like, could you have like walked into the bathroom or like walked somewhere where it was like a little bit
100%, 1,000%.
that like it's like that's something that you might want to think about. It's like, why are people not like listening to my stories? It's like, well, even me, I can barely hear this, and I'm like in a quiet environment and stuff like that. So the average person, like, I want to watch this video. The average person isn't like, oh my, like I have to watch Duran's video, right? So you want to make sure that you're serving the viewer. So that's something right there. And then if they don't watch the first one, they don't have enough context for the second one. It's a big domino effect. So
I was just looking at the second part of that story, and I don't think it made any sense. So I'm just going to re-say it and reframe it. But essentially, when I got off the call with one of my clients, one of the things I wanted to hop on and talk about is the importance of living as who you want to be before you actually are that person. And so when you are away from home and you, let's say, are traveling around, on which my client was, there are certain things that, let's just say your goal is you want to have six-pack abs. Cool. So if that's the goal that you have, there's certain things that someone who has six-pack abs, there's certain.
So also something that I could maybe recommend you as you get better and better and better at these stories, before you make a story, maybe write down 2 sentences in your notes app of what the topic is, because I also do this. I struggle with this as well because I have so many thoughts. I'm trying to get them down in 60 seconds. First thing is this one, it seems like rushed. It seems like really, really rushed. Again, the background noise, and then you're not really like getting to the point. You're like, that story didn't really make sense, so I kind of want to like rephrase it for you guys. Like if you know, like let's say your goal is to, you know what I'm saying? And it's like there's a lot of filler words and stuff. Like, you'd rather get the point across. So it's like if you take something like this, I would rather you be like, okay, like that was one of the reps. So the story I just uploaded, for example, I took those, each of them 3 times. Because I was like, I did it, and I was like, yeah, it was okay, but I didn't concise the point enough, and I did it, and I was like, yeah, it was okay. Then I made the point very, very concise. I use a lot of filler words all the time. My energy makes up for that fact of that. But here it's like you're talking normal, you're just like conversational. But if you do that, you want to be really, really, really good at immediately being like, that story didn't really make that much sense. So what I want to walk you guys through is if your goal is to get 6-pack abs, that's like a 4-second ordeal rather than like we're 30 seconds through the story and that's all you've really said.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where retention starts to drop because like people don't have the patience. They don't know what's going on. So if they watch through 5 of these and then it's like they don't even get to it, and it's like Instagram is noticing, oh, the person can hear and they immediately scrolled off. Oh, they listened for a couple seconds but you didn't get the point across, they immediately scrolled off. Your engagement's going to go down. So like you can bring your engagement back up just by really focusing on how good you're getting at those stories. But
decisions that they would make, and there's certain decisions that they wouldn't make. So you wanting 6-pack abs, you need to make the same decisions as that person who actually already does have 6-pack abs. And once you make those decisions for long enough, then you will have 6-pack abs. Some of those decisions are maybe stuff like getting your steps in every day, eating your protein target, getting in the gym 3 times a week. And once you can do those things for long enough, then you'll get the end result of having the 6-pack abs.
And then I maybe what would have made that a little bit better is maybe you would have followed it up with a story, because I understood what you were talking about. I think you could have made it a little bit more understandable though. And so guys, what I'm trying to say is just like if you have an individual or an identity that you want to become, you have to not just become that person by doing the habits, but you literally have to start living the same way that person would live in order to then get the benefits that you want. So a lot of you guys, you're only doing the habits if you see progress. So when the abs don't immediately come, you stop doing the habits, and then in turn, you never get the outcome. But the person who has abs, he would never stop going to the gym, doing his cardio and tracking his macros. Why? Because he's not doing it just to have the abs. He's doing it because that's the person that he is. And because that's the person that he is, he has the abs. You see what I'm saying? And then they're like, oh shit, like he was cooking. These are the things that make people be like, slide up, damn bro, this was start of conversation, right? And in what you did is you kind of explained the topic, and I do this all the time, so I'm not blaming you. Like I'll say things, and there's a reason why I do 5 stories, and I'll take 5 stories to explain it, but I still always have some where people are like, oh shit, I never thought about it like that. Remember, the more epiphanies that they have, the more they're going to want to reach out to you, the more they're like, damn, this is good. So every single time they show up to their content, if you're just like, what you said, it's like, was the topic bad? No. It was true information. It was like, you know, it was good advice. But do you see the difference between when you said it and then when I said it? You're like, oh, even if you've heard it before, you can turn things to where people are like, damn, that's good. That's what you want to happen every time they watch your stories, because that makes them want to go watch your YouTube videos. Like, I need more of this.
Just finished my run. It was a 6-kilometer long run or progressive one. So after every 2.
So I would keep like stories like this. I would keep them in their environment. So this is I would kind of classify this as like a hype story. Like, oh, just finished running, da 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 da. And I would maybe just like do some music and be like, you know, showing your things and be like, and then just kind of show like, or it'd be like, I'm finished. Like I didn't want to show up. But, like I'm here, da da da. Instead of going right back into the, oh, just finish my run. It doesn't see. There's no like hype around. No one's like seeing that and being like, damn, like. I wish I could finish a run and have that type of energy, or like you want to make it feel contagious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotcha.
You want to like, dang, bro, like, I wish I was living his life. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You want to start to like, you got to sell the dream to a certain point. And also, like, I'm not saying, you know, maybe you finish your run and you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like shit. But it's like you're the coach and you're the one that has to, you know, it's like when you're a personal trainer. It's like if you show up and you're having a bad day, it's like it don't matter. You still got to coach the client and push them, right? So it's like you can't show up in that. And that's how you have to be in your stories. No matter if you don't feel good in your story, you got to show them like, hey, like I feel literally horrible. I don't even want to be talking to this story right now. I have no energy, but I'm here for you guys. I showed up because I know I have to, like things like that, because naturally increases your energy, increases the momentum for the next story.
Got it.
All right, so we are back for round 2.
See, you can see like you're way happier here. This is good.
And here I got chocolate.
Like what would have been so good too, though, is if you do this and you're like, guys, you know how much happier I am right now? Like I felt like ass before the run. To be honest, I felt like ass after. But guess what? I get protein ice cream now. Like, do you see how my mood changed? My circumstance didn't change. My day, like everything has been the same, but just because I went and I sacrificed, I got done what I needed to get done, I've completely elevated my mood and the way that I feel. And then what do you do then? And then you tie it back to, you'd be like, and this is the thing that I didn't know. Every night when I used to get home from work, my mood would be down. And what would I do? I would look for comfort to bring me up, but it would bring me down more. Instead of going through something difficult and it completely changing my mood, you have to have opposites. If you're feeling down, applying more downtime makes you feel worse. But if you're feeling down, going and putting out work ethic, going and putting the energy that God gave you to use, going and sacrificing always makes you feel better. It's the same thing now. I just sacrificed. Now I gotta make this protein ice cream. And the thing is, I didn't even know stuff like this existed. I just thought ice cream is ice cream and protein is protein. But now I literally get to customize my meals. I get to enjoy the things that I eat. I have this crazy physique that no one in my family. Now you're turning this story into so much more value. Now they're 4 stories in and they're like addicted. They're watching the story as the version of you who got home from work and felt like ass. And then they just watched you go run even though you didn't want to. And they watched you go from, I don't want to be here, to I showed up anyways, to like, I'm so lit. And they're like, damn, I want what this guy has. Like, why can't I have this in my life? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Perfect.
That's what's needing to happen. So it's like when your engagements come falling off in the stories, it's like, well, you know, this is the reason why.
Chocolate creamy.
This is good.
And then I'm going to mix it with some Biscoff. Honestly, this one isn't going to be as healthy as the first one. This is going to be more of like a big back version, more of an unhealthy version. So you got to live a little. So trying to do like a score brownie kind of thing with like some Biscoff too, because why not? And then I'm going to see what else I have and see if I can trust. But yeah, when we make this one, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like at the end. I'm going to show you guys the macros as well too. Again, this one.
Because this is authentic and it's you, but the way I just spoke the story, it took the protein ice cream and it like taught a lesson, provided some value, gave some energy, and created a relationship. Rather than you, like this is almost like an influencer on his Snapchat story, just being like, I'm cooking guys, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Like, it's like you showed up, but you got to always remember, influencers change the way that people think. Coaches change the way people live. So they might watch this and think, oh, I'm going to try this protein ice cream. But the way that I worded it, they're watching this and they're like, damn, he's right. I need to change this. So you take every story and you turn it into something that's so much more than just protein ice cream. And, you know, you don't even have to grab context from anywhere. You just genuinely have to show up and as that coach. And one thing that's dope is like I think all of your meals, bro. Every single time I watch one of your stories and you're posting something, I'm like, damn, I'm hungry, bro. Like these shits always look really, really good. But you need to also talk about the fact that if food used to be one of your vices, and everyone thinks it takes forever to make the presentation. Little tips and tricks. Be like, guys, you don't understand. Half of the stuff that I make, it's like, do you really think that this protein ice cream that I made tastes as good if I were to go, whatever a good brand of ice cream, is that you like. If I were to go eat that, be like, it's not the same. But the presentation and the time that I put into it, my brain looks at it as like, this is my prize that I've created, and it looks tasty. And my brain almost convinces me that it tastes as good because I know it's healthy for me. It's rewarding. I put all this time into it. Now I just took something stupid and I created another lesson. The more this happens, again, I took an abstract idea using the coach's frame, something that you're literally doing, and I turned it into a lesson. The more that happens, people are like, damn, I never even thought about that. And I'm not even the one that made this story and I did it. So even more so should you be able to do that. Is like, because I look at this and I'm like, oh wow, this is good presentation. Most dudes that would make that, it would just be like, they even left the rest of the Biscoff cookie off and they didn't swirl it at the top. And you talk about that. And that can be like one of your pillars. Presentation changes your mind of doing things. And then you have a whole entire module of how to make food look so delicious. It's impossible not to track your macros. And then that's one of your pillars. And then you start creating this brand reputations where every time you're cooking home meals, they look so amazing. And you're not saying that they're not tasty, but that's one of your things. You're like, guys, you guys are worried about oh, why can I lose weight? Why can I lose weight? This is what your chicken and rice looks like. And this is what mine looks like. Which one do you think you want to eat more, right? That's another brand thing that you're using. Now people are starting to, oh, that's unique. I've never heard this way of thinking before. This is something that's very unique to you. They're associating all these things with you. Oh, I'm trying to see what Iran's eating today. I want to see how he made it. I want to go watch this YouTube video of how he made that one meal and how he tricked his brain into, you see all the things that I'm saying? There's so much you can do with it, but it's become, and I know it's very mundane and I know it's routine, but it's like, you got to think outside the box from the viewer's perspective. And that's why it's good to have me as a coach being able to show you these things, because I know it gets hard. If you would have asked yourself last night, what can I do with this story? You probably would have been like, I don't know. It's the same thing with me, right? You're like, I don't know. But you can use this way of thinking outside of the box, and you can go back and you can watch this call again and then be like, I'm going to see if I can watch this and then go watch one of my stories today and see if I can apply the same thought process.
Yeah.
There's so many times, areas where you can do this. And now you have way more stories of value instead of just you made a lesson that didn't really make sense. Then you re-explained it. And then you were like, I'm at the gym. Then you're like, here's what I did to run. And then you're like, making this ice cream. And you're like, here's the ice cream. There's not really much in it for them. But then every single one of these stories that I just changed, there's oh my gosh, I just learned more from this guy in just a couple of these stories than I've learned from any of the reels I've seen on Instagram today. And there's energy, and they're thinking outside the box. They're like, man, I've never thought about this before. And they're feeling everything's being related back to them. That's when your content really.
So I'm here with my creation. We got some Biscoff pieces. We got some score pieces in there because why not? Who doesn't love a nice score chocolate brownie? And then got the Biscoff butter that I threw in there too. Tastes like shit, man.
It's not about eating clean, it's about eating smart. If your environment is locked in, results equals automatic. So here, right after, I would have taken this and been like, guys, you saw that last grocery cart. And it's you hear people say all the time, oh, out of sight, out of mind. If it's not in the house, you're not gonna eat it. But it's really, really hard to live that way, because most of the time for us, it's if you crave some gummy bears, you can go 3 minutes away to the CVS and just go buy them, right? And this is the biggest thing for me. I tried the elimination diet. I tried this. That's not the biggest thing, right? You have to have a clean environment. You got to have clean eating in your house. But what is most addicting is when you just get through that 2-week threshold, of where you start to see some progress. And then you combine that with having an environment that only has good food, then you really start to brainwash yourself because your brain is seeing progress, seeing that it's because of the change in foods. And then you don't even want to eat anything sweet because you know that that will help you lose your progress. And then you create this snowball of momentum. What do? We just taught another lesson, because it gets to the point where like the lessons that you teach, you can't have just like a perfectly new lesson every single day, right? But you can have a new way of thinking about it. And I worded it a little bit differentently this time. I
Yeah.
taught a little bit different of a lesson this time. That's all you have to do is you just get abstract with it. And now people are like, it's so cool. It's like, why does every time I watch a story, I like leave with this like value of something I've never thought about before? Because they read this and it's brainless. Oh, your environment is locked in, results are automatic. They're like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's motivating, but how many times have they heard that? But then you make that story and you explain it in like in your own way. And they're like, man, this is so applicable. You know, the information didn't really change. The way that their brain consumes it changes.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm starting to do a little bit more of is, as I read the Bible, some of the lessons that I learned, try to share them with you guys in like a pretty condensed way. So today, when I was reading, I think it was Joshua 23. I just have my Bible open here. Joshua, like I've been talking over the last few days about how he was kind of separating and splitting up the land between the different tribes. And so in this one, he's about to die. He's like gotten really old, and he's giving the people his final words. And in this one, he said, "Deep in your hearts, you know that every promise of the Lord your God has come true. Not a single one has failed. But as surely as the Lord your God has given you the good things he promised, he will also bring disaster on you if you disobey him." It's pretty much just giving him a reminder that's like, okay, like God's kind of been faithful for you guys. Like he brought you out of slavery from Egypt, kind of kept you guys safe all this time, gave you the promised land, helped split it up. And it's like, there's a certain way and there's.
So I'll try to give you another good analogy. Have you seen like when like there's like a pastor and he's preaching and just like it's heat and he's teaching from the Bible and then he's teaching a lesson and he kind of gets like this like grin on his face when he gets into like this rhythm, like you know, my a few people that I've watched, they've done this and it's almost like they're connecting the dots for the first time on their own. That's what I would like to see you do here, because you're kind of like teaching about like what you learned, but the best way to do it, and I'm going to
certain order things have to be done. And if they disobey him and they go against the way, they're going to be destroyed. You know, God's going to, punish them. And so how I kind of saw relevance to that is there's a certain amount of things that you have to do in order to get in shape. You got to eat your protein. You need to track how many calories you're in. You got to get into the gym a certain amount of times per week. You got to be in a calorie deficit. Like there's certain steps and orders for things.
So this is kind of a little bit more like super advanced, like high level shit. But I think it's applicable here. As you're making that connection, your facial expressions, your body language, people react heavily based on energy, but also heavily based on like facial expression. And your facial expression it's just kind of like, so this is what was happening with Joshua. And, here's, God was saying that everything needs to be done in a certain way. And, the way I relate that to myself is, it's kind of like there's certain things that you have to do. You have to get your protein. What's kind of like a little bit cooler is if you take the idea and you're like, and as I was reading this and I was realizing, he's speaking to Joshua, telling him there's a certain order of things to be done if they want to do it the right way. There's a certain way that they have to do things. And I realized it's just the same in our life with losing weight, right? It's like there's a certain order of things that we have to do. Sure, we can try to do it our way, but if it's not the right way, we're going to be like, why am I not making progress? Oh, I'm eating protein, but every single time I get 100 grams of protein, I'm also getting 120 grams of carbs with it. Oh, but I hit my protein goal, but you didn't do it the right way. There's a certain way that you have to do it. See how it seems like in the head, it's like, damn, he's spitting. It's like you're connecting it in a way where it almost like makes the brain like smile. And when that happens, they start to fiend for your content. They're like, yo, that was good. That was heat. Because my energy increased as I was teaching the lesson. And I'm like, you guys following me? And that right there makes this story so much more valuable. you did a good job of kind of like doing it, but it didn't really seem like the lesson you just learned had even any value in your life. You were just kind of like, and this is kind of what I think it means to me. You know what I'm saying? And there wasn't really like, does that make sense?
100%.
I know I'm dumping a lot of stuff, but it's a good video.
Currently outside getting my morning step.
So I don't think we need to go through all of them because it's going to be kind of the same for all of those. But that's really the biggest thing. I think that your reels have been solid. I think I don't even want to say like, oh, change anything about your reels, because I think like you're getting good. 162 likes, 30 comments. Like you're getting good. Some of these are getting 50K. Go ahead.
So when I'm more broad in my reels, if you look at the why you're not getting bigger, that's like literally just a video. You like I took your feedback. You said recreate the viral video I had about progressive overload, the top left with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And so that one did like really, really well. So this video did well, and I tried to like recreate this video over in like different topics. Like you said, okay, try creating this in like different verticals.
I mean,
like,
but this was perfect though, because like the light's right on your face, you're shirtless. Why are you wearing a cowboy hat? It's like there's so many different things that people are like, wait, what's going on? Like you've created a character out of yourself, and like this is like the camera's so clear. It's just got the slight zoom in. Like I'm not even listening to this video, and it's interesting, right? So I thought this was really, really good, which is okay. But then you go here, and it like the biggest reason why this went viral, or not viral, but it's like why this got a lot of views. You took it out. So you're thinking it didn't get views because of the information. It got views because of the cowboy hat, the perfect lighting. It's kind of like at night with like that warm setting, and then here it's like
Teach why your meal plans keep.
there's no cowboy hat. You don't look as good because the lighting isn't that great. So you always you want to recreate the setting as well when you do this. This is good.
Howdy. I'm gonna teach you how to build your workouts in a way that even a 6-year-old could understand. 4 words: compound and accessory.
This one seemed a bit forced though. Like this one was just like so. Like this seemed like you were trying to get the same reaction of this. This one.
I'm gonna teach you how to get stronger in the gym in a way even a 6.
And like, bro, like massive difference immediately. I don't know if you can hear it, but in my AirPods, all the other ones, your voice is like down here and the music's down here. This one, your voice is the overarching theme. Overarching theme. Boom. You're just like straight to the point. I think teach you how to get abs in a way that this, which. It's good. Like this brings you in traffic, but the problem is they have amazing video here, but then they get burnt out in your stories because they don't, like I said, you're not doing it the way that I just did that. So it's like if they watch one of these videos and then the story flow is you executing with those good quality reps the way that I said for 3, 4, 5 days, then you post a YouTube video, and then in the YouTube video, most of the time is you going in depth about the story, having that passion, having that energy to teach the lesson. Bro, I promise you, it's there. It's there. It's like the reps are almost there. It's just like it's like the difference between like 5th place at the Olympia and 1st place. Nobody in 5th place makes any money at the Olympia, but it's like what's the difference? It's like half a pound of muscle and like a couple of lines and a little bit of density, and then you're at 1st place and you have all the rewards, and that's what's happening here. It's like so close. The conditioning is there. The posing is there, but it's like you just need a little bit more density, a little bit more conditioning consistency over time, and because that's what's going to make because even you, I was telling you watched it happen in your head because I was giving you an example of your story, and I would watch you right when I said it, you would like smile and kind of like look down because you knew, like you felt it, and if that's what makes people reach out because they feel the same exact thing.
Yeah, got you.
So I think these are good. So I would just say, because as you work on it in your stories, it'll naturally get better in your reels, because you'll start to understand it a little bit more.
I'm gonna teach you how many sets to do in the gym in a way that even a 6-year-old could understand. So there's only 2 numbers you need. To know: 10 and 20. That's your range. If you're training something like chest, you want to make sure you're doing 10 to.
This is good. I would have turned the volume up a little bit, and I would have turned the music down a little bit.
I'm gonna teach you how many sets to do in the gym in a way that even.
And then I don't know if you can notice, but
I'm gonna teach you how many sets to do in the gym in a way that even a 6-year-old could understand. So there's only 2 numbers you need. Let
me check this real quick.
I'm gonna teach you how to get stronger in the gym in a way even a 6-year-old could understand. So there's only 2 numbers you need to know: your lower limit.
I think in the beginning, as far as
How much-
visual hook goes, the camera's a little bit lower and right. So my eyes always land in the top 3/4 of the screen. All the viewers does, and your face is right there. It's a little bit more
Teach you how to get
appealing,
stronger in the gym in a way.
and there's not much space at the top.
I'm gonna
This
teach you
one,
how many sets to do in the gym in a
it's like they're there, but your face is a little bit farther back. It's kind of moving around, and it's a little bit
way that even a
higher.
6-year-old could understand.
It doesn't matter too much. Again, this is a little bit more like advanced stuff, but it's not as clean on my eyes. I think it's really just because of the lighting. Because the lighting in the other one was so good. So like, if you're gonna film these, what was it like at night, and you just had like a little warm light on
Yeah.
you? Yeah. I mean, I would just if you're gonna film these, do that, and then but try multiple different ways. So it's like, in the way that a sixth grader could understand. I'm gonna teach you how to get I'm going to teach you how to get. I'm going to teach you how to I'm going to teach you how to brainwash. I'm going to teach you how to brainwash your taste buds into thinking meals taste better than they do just because of the way that they look. And then it's like you showing some of your things. One of the things that we talked about in your stories.
Yeah.
That would be another way to switch up this video, not just like doing the same type of topic over and over.
Got
But
it.
I mean, I think we've had a lot of good stuff reviewed in this video. Do you feel like you have some more clarity, and you were able to see kind of some of the places that
Yeah.
you might have not been seeing before that you were stumbling over?
1,000%. I have some questions about like the IG profile.
Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
I removed the PCT, the keyword, from the bio just because I felt like I wasn't getting any DMs. I wasn't getting any DMs from, like people DMing me the word PCT or whatnot. So I
Okay.
just removed it completely from the bio, just to kind of like decommoditize myself in a way. I'm not sure what your take is on that.
I think because you're at 30K followers, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's. I think you're like thinking it'll do something, and I think it'd be more detrimental rather than because in like any day you could have one of those stories that's just like so banger, or someone comes from your YouTube channel and then they just don't DM you because there's no keyword. I'd say you can add it back because like if you look at the opportunity cost, it's like the opportunity cost is just like, okay, most likely no one's going to DM you if it's not there like at this stage. And then if it is there, like maybe there was like a couple people who they would have DM'd but they just don't because it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
it's like I would just put it back because what you lose isn't like you don't really gain anything, but you lose a little bit, and then what you gain from putting it back is much greater than what you lose. So
Okay, got it. And then the other thing is, I wasn't sure if like that line, like how I lost 25 pounds while working 10-hour days. I'm not sure if that's like convicting enough for people to actually be like, oh my gosh, I need to know. I'm not sure if it's talking to like the ICP. So I want to get your opinion on that.
I kind of like maybe something along the lines of I really like the first one I think is such a banger. But I say something maybe along the lines of mm, oh, I lost 25 while working. Mm, how I stay. Mm, I'm wrestling between two in my head right now. I'm cooking though. I'm thinking between something along the lines of like how I stay shredded year round while while overworking myself, or something along the lines of something about like loving your food, because I will say like that's something that's massively stood out to me is like the way, like every time I see like the way that your food looks, kind of like how, you know, how I stay in, you know, in crazy shape while eating all the foods that I love, or something like along those lines. But I want it to be a bit more not controversial, but just spiking of emotion. Um, mm, ooh, I like this. Hmm. I kind of like, if you think this is corny, let me know. But I kind of like, because I think that you really should start showing the food a lot more and using that as like one of your big pillars, because I do like that. And I think a cool value proposition is like, would you say a lot of your ICP, like where you used to be, like one of the biggest vices is the food, like, you know, kind of like stress eating and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like the idea of like, you know, keep six pack abs year round while eating like a king. I kind of like that. I
Well,
think
you like a king?
eating like a king, bro. I like that. I think that's dope, bro. Because it's
Who
kind of
is-
like, whoa, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? Is that not a term in Canada? Like we always say, like, oh, bro's eating like a king. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like steak and, you know, like, you don't think that that matches?
I think it could honestly. Like I do like the sound of it, and one of the
And I
things I was
think
also
what you
gonna bring
can do
up.
is it can inspire you to make a video where you literally specifically talk about like, you know, how I reverse engineered weight loss and got abs while eating my favorite foods in 30 days. And then you talk about, you know, I would say focus on that one pain point, like I did, of like what, you know, you used to, you know, binge eat and stress eat every single time you got home, and like spend 5-10 minutes really talking about like your mental state and where you were. And then kind of you're like, and then I realized it's not about, you know, like I don't have to only eat the foods I enjoy from like going out to eat. Like I can literally make them, and then talk about how you like fell in love with doing that, and you know how you know, you don't even have to meal prep some of them. It's super easy, and every single one of your meals takes like 5 minutes, and then talk about how that fits into your day to day. I think that would be a really cool. I think that'd be a really cool video to make.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that
what do
sounds
you
solid.
think?
So yeah, so that, but that wouldn't that mean that I'd have to now start shifting more of my content towards like food focused content?
You don't have to, because it's just about like it's just about like the value proposition of not the value proposition of not like reframing your mindset. That's kind of what I don't want you to try and like show people that you're trying to like. I want you to be like, once I realized I could make all the foods that like I wanted, and I could eat food that I enjoyed, I realized like I was the problem. It was just my habits. As long as I ate within the portions that I wanted, I actually took the time to, you know, uh, track my macros. I actually took the time to care about what I was eating. It's not really like I had to make crazy sacrifices. And that's when I realized, because I think a lot of your, like most of your content is about the mindset of like, what was what was the biggest change? The biggest change wasn't the food. The biggest change wasn't the training. It was realizing that you could lose weight and achieve whatever physique that you had, and just actually starting to think about it and apply it into your day to day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that was the biggest change?
Agreed.
So that should be the underlying message, and I feel like that's what. And then because what does that do? that is just you simplifying the steps that need to be done. And that falls under all of your biggest viral videos. It's like, I'm helping you simplify fitness. And then you kind of use food as your outlet to be like, guys, and the whole entire reason I make all these meals is just to show you, like, this shit took me 10 minutes, bro. 10 minutes. But all these little things help me with this. It's very simple. Did you realize it's your fault? It's very simple to implement these habits. And I really like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you can teach whatever lesson you want through. You could use food to teach about discipline. You can use food to teach about cooking. You can use food to teach about, all these different things. I just think in your case, it should be through that type of speaking.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's solid. I'll definitely look to implement that and change the bio and everything too.
Fire.
Okay.
I can write that down. I can give you some more. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. And in terms of like general content right now, should I stick with like this whiteboard stuff, or should I now try to like just
I like the whiteboard thing. I would really try to, again, like, I think one of the things is just like, I feel like if you were actually paying attention, you could have realized, okay, well, what's the difference between these all only have a couple thousand and then this one has 60,000? I mean, even the ones that you tried to recreate, like this one,
Howdy.
look at the difference.
Yeah.
Look at the difference in clarity. This one's just perfect, bro. I don't know what it is. It's just perfect. The lighting's perfect. The camera's perfect. So, like, if you're trying to get quality reps every single time, like, I feel like you could have noticed that very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it was. And then and starting to do that. So I think, the general direction is good, but again, it's like, cry on your titles. Try, like, don't just put it out to put it out. Like, again, with the stories, if you have to film that one story where you're in the kitchen with your parents and you're rushing because they're like looking at you and like they're like, I don't know who you were with. It sounded like you were kind of.
Oh, it was my girl. Yeah, it was my girl.
Oh, okay, you're with your girl. But I've done that all the time. Like, when I was in my apartment, I would like drive home. I would have dinner with my parents. I would make stories, and then I'd be like, oh, they're like watching me, and it was weird. It just kind of felt like that might have been what you were doing. But even if you're with your girl and stuff like that, refilm it 4 more fucking times.
Yeah, you're right.
We want to have quality reps. We want to get it done.
Got it.
This is dope. One